the Dogs walked out of there with a 42-14 win over Georgia Southern.
Yeah.
And welcome back. Episode 2 of this 2025 fall semester. Welcome back to the Collegian Cooldown. Welcome back.
That's electric, man.
Yeah, your second episode here on the Collegian Cooldown. Let's still introduce ourselves. Finley Pendergast, sports editor here at the Collegian.
Nolan Reynolds, assistant sports editor.
And we're excited to bring you yet another episode of the Collegian Cooldown. Now, last week it was a rather short one. We didn't have a whole lot to talk about. But this week, we got a lot of stuff going down and going down soon. Starting off with, of course, football is back. College football last Saturday it felt good waking up. You got college game day, Lee Corso's last college game day. But then you have football all day long, and Fresno State played.
Electric.
And then as September rolls down, we get to that October, we have NFL in full swing and the MLB playoffs starting very soon. So we have a whole lot to talk about, so why don't we get into it? Taking a look back to last Saturday at Valley Children's Stadium, the Dogs walked out of there with a 42-14 win over Georgia Southern.
Yeah.
Quite the difference from 2 weeks ago, as you heard from Chase. I mean, you could hear those Dogs last Saturday. 351 rushing yards. The pass game was solid in the second half. Only 8 passes thrown, but E.J. Warner did complete 7 of those. So what happened from what happened in Kansas 2 weeks ago to what happened just this past Saturday?
Well, they ran for 10 times more yards on the ground. And, like you said, you're 7 of 8 passing in the second half, but when you run for 351 yards, you don't need to pass the ball because they are just electric on the ground. Bryson Donaldson with 167 yards, Rayshawn Luke 96 with a hat trick. Brandon Ramirez.
He got in on a fun day. No one was really left out, especially in that running back room. Everyone got the ball, and everyone showed up and showed out.
Everyone got fed. There was not a lot of issues that we saw from the Week 0 game at Kansas that came and translated to Valley Children's Stadium. They ran the ball really well. They were efficient enough in the first half to keep it close. Played it a little conservative towards halftime, but that second half, that conservatism didn't really matter. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, being conservative is something that Fresno State sort of got used to, especially last year. You always see, going into the half, let's just run the clock out and lick our wounds and head into the locker room down maybe a score and go from there. And you would think coming out of halftime be rejuvenated, and just too many times last season you didn't see that. On Saturday, you see this team go to halftime down 14-13. They could have pushed on the gas a little bit, try and go for 6, but Dylan Lynch ended up pinning a 30-yard field goal. So they do get out of there with points, but they came out of the half very strong. A quick 3-and-out, force a punt, and then they took that ball and went right down the field. So you see, that conservative play to go into halftime played off, but they turned on the gas, and that's something I think every Fresno State fan is excited to see.
It was cathartic, honestly, to see this team run for 351 yards, the most in a game since 2014 for the Fresno State Bulldogs. You watch that 2-minute drill. It was really about 4, but they get the ball at the 2-minute timeout at about Georgia Southern 40-yard line, 35. They get down inside the red zone and they have timeouts. They have opportunities to take a chance at the end zone, and ultimately Entz decides to just kick it, play it safe. Mm-hmm. I see the reason why. Your defense has been playing better in that second quarter. They get the ball to start the second half. Put the pressure on your defense to make a stop and give the offense momentum after a defensive stop, and it worked out perfectly. They got, like you said, they got that big 3-and-out. They had a lot of short fields. I think that first punt was just a bad kick from Georgia Southern that allowed them to have a really short field. And I think that really helped the offense really kind of click. They had a lot of short fields in the third quarter. I know they had a 90-yard drive later, so it didn't really matter where they were on the field. They were absolutely just churning the legs and just running the ball down Georgia Southern's throat. But, it's nice to see, especially after last year where they just couldn't run the ball at all.
They couldn't, and honestly, they never really chose to at a lot of the points in the season. Just Mikey Keene, chuck that thing, and we'll see where that leaves us eventually. But I mean, every running back that got into the game was they just came out. I mean, Bryson Donaldson, the sophomore, 167 rushing yards, carried the ball, 23 times. Rayshon Speedy Luke, that's right, his nickname is Speedy. You didn't see that 2 weeks ago. You saw that last week.
He is a fast-moving guy. I mean, you see him dive into the holes at the offensive line, and then he's 10 yards into the secondary in the blink of an eye. Mm-hmm. And, just building off these guys, they rushed the ball 45 times. 43 from running backs. I think EJ had 2 scrambles that count towards those numbers. But, you give that running back room 43 opportunities to run the ball, they're going to find, the secondary and that next level. And it was just so old-fashioned, It's like watching, 1980s Oakland Raiders football. Mm-hmm. Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson in the backfield.
I mean, and this running back room has been waiting since their summer camp. I mean, everyone knew the eyes were on these running backs, and they're finally getting to show out. And no better place to do it than in Valley Children's Stadium. In the home opener, you put 351 rushing yards out there. I mean, Rayshon Luke averaged almost 10 yards a carry.
It's crazy. I mean, and that speed helps. I mean, he can get those 10 yards real quick. But, that also speaks to the amount of penetration, the holes that the offensive line were making. And I think they had a lot better game against Georgia Southern than they did against Kansas. And, I mean, that's gonna happen. I mean, look, Kansas's defensive line is better than Georgia Southern's. But, you didn't want EJ and the running backs to get, these just blown up just right at the line of scrimmage. And allow them to get their legs moving and create plays in the secondary and make men miss. Mm-hmm. And they did a really good job. They protected EJ, I mean, just almost perfectly.
Yeah. A lot of the credit goes strictly, to the running backs, but the offensive line, I mean, had a fantastic day. But unfortunately, they are going to be without their starting guard for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Campbell McCarg suffered a season-ending non-contact injury, so it has not been confirmed, what that is, maybe an ACL, Achilles, something like that. But there will be moves that have to be made. Who knows who that starting guard will be moving forward, but the offensive line as a whole played a heck of a lot better than they did in week 1. But now moving on, they got a similar defensive line to Kansas. They have some big boys, and Coach Entz talked about that in Monday's press conference. They know what their opponent is and can be quite similar to Kansas.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good test for next year, this game against Oregon State. I mean, the Beavers, they're kind of going through a little bit of a change with the new head coach, Trent Bray. There's a lot of continuity with Jonathan Smith. A few years ago, he leaves for Michigan State. It's a premier program. I mean, there's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. I mean, Oregon State is. They're Power 5 for a reason. They've been very good. They've produced a lot of NFL talent. There's no doubt that the Dogs are going to have a challenge this week. But you look at their last game against Cal, and there's some issues, and maybe it's first game, nerves, just kind of feeling things out with a new roster. But Yeah, I mean, they did not look very good against Cal.
Especially at home, a lot of Beaver fans got to be scratching their head thinking this Saturday, this will be, a very needed comeback, because to start your season, lose 34-15 at home to Cal, I don't think many Beaver fans had that on their bucket list, and I don't think they especially had them going 0-2 with Fresno State coming to town this Saturday.
Absolutely.
Fresno State defense does have their hands full with Malik Murphy. He's another veteran QB. Fresno State is just facing a lot of QBs that have seen a lot of reps, and so it'll be interesting to see what sort of pressure this defensive line can do, because, while we talk about E.J. Warner and the offensive line for the Dogs being clean, playing clean, not a whole lot of penalties, and E.J. Warner's jersey was relatively clean last week, but then you look at the same thing, the defensive line has not created a whole lot of pressure. I mean, Finn Claypool had his first sack of the year in Kansas, but this past week, no QB hurries, no sacks. You're sort of waiting for this D-line to really attack a QB and make his life uncomfortable, especially against veteran QBs. You have to make them feel uncomfortable, work their way out of the pocket.
Absolutely. And I mean, they get that interception in the second quarter. But, I mean, other than that, Georgia Southern had a lot of cleanness to their game on offense. And it's just, something that the Dogs want to pride themselves on is good defense. And, they talked about their secondary and their linebackers, but this defensive line is going to have to step up and make Malik Murphy's life very tough on Saturday. Another thing is, them and the rush game. O.J. Arnold last week, before he was sat out for the second half for an undisclosed reason, averaging about 5 yards a carry. We saw what Jalen Daniels did. We saw what the Kansas running backs did. The Oregon State is not going to have, another game where they rush for 36 yards like they did against Cal. They are going to come out. They are going to pound the rock. They are going to lean on that running game to get things going for the offense. And it's going to be up to the Dogs to stop that and to force Malik Murphy to throw the ball and test him and see if he can make plays.
You saw against Kansas, they were rotating guys on that D-line. There really hasn't been a set, starting 4, starting 3, however you want to look at it. Finn Claypool was the name always brought up going into this season. That was supposed to be the guy. Obviously had a good week in Kansas, but last week there's really been no one standing out, always creating pressure, always getting into the backfield, and that's something moving forward the Dogs really have to get going, because as good as Alzolian Hamilton is in the secondary, you have another veteran guy like Jaden Davis. Those guys can only do so much that once 3 seconds goes, you can't expect those guys to be guarding all day.
Yeah, exactly. And, we talk about Jaden Pearson a lot. I think he's leading the FBS.
All of football in tackles.
In tackles with 18, which is great. But that means that, these guys are getting to that next level, past the line, into the box, deep into the box, into the secondary. So, it's great that, he's leading college football in tackles, but, that's not something that, we necessarily want for the future.
Right. Yeah, another linebacker to talk about, Kavion Thunderbird, had a pretty good showing in his first game at Valley Children's Stadium. he was the catalyst for the start to that second half. He comes out of halftime, 2 tackles, so now it's, 3rd and medium, 3rd and long, almost comes out with a pick, but either way, a great drive and a great introduction. Another transfer in his first game at Valley Children's Stadium showed out. So we'll have to see when the Bulldogs travel all the way to Corvallis. Another road game and another pretty far away road game. The Bulldogs and the Beavers, they'll have to get to know, they'll begin to know each other pretty soon with the move to the Pac-12. Bulldogs, Beavers, Cougars, oh my. We will wait and see on Saturday. We'll give you coverage from that. Moving on, still talking about football though, with NFL season right around the corner, just a day away, with the Cowboys and Eagles kicking things off. The Collegian has some exciting news to share. We did our own fantasy football draft. We have a 10-man league going. We got a lot of workers here from the Collegian that did a draft. And, everyone likes to say, oh, they made the best team and whatnot. But we won't, I won't go on a 20-minute tangent saying why I'm going to be, have a ring on this finger and all that sort of thing. I'm not going to do that right now. It's not for me to say. But why don't we talk about some sleepers, some busts that we see happening with NFL season right here.
Well, and I know you're high on this guy, but I personally am not. It's Breece Hall, running back for the New York Jets. Right. I think that, there's a lot of issues. Jets offense, first year under former Detroit Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn. I don't really see that offense being better than it was last year or for the last 15 years, for that matter. And I think that they just have a deep running back room, and I think Breece Hall is going to have carries taken away from him, and I think Justin Fields is probably going to, steal some touchdowns from Breece Hall with the legs of his, and I just think that he's a little overrated. I'm not saying he's going to be bad, but I don't think he's going to be as good as people think he is.
Fair enough. We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. I am fairly high. I've bought some stock into Breece Hall after, I was a Breece Hall owner his rookie year. I got 7 glorious games, and then he, of course, went down with injury. I think this year for the Jets, I got a buddy who's a Jets fan. It's always the same thing over and over. Hey, maybe this year A-Rod goes down. Okay, whatever. And then last year happens, hey, maybe fully healthy, we get Devontae, maybe. This year, Justin Fields is interesting, for fantasy purposes, but also for as a football team going forward. But I do think Breece Hall is poised for a good year. A sleeper, I can't believe that we're now in 2025 talking about a sleeper with this guy, Tyreek Hill.
Another guy you're super high on.
I'm pretty high. Yeah, you get Tua back. You have Tyreek Hill, should be fully healthy. I think I drafted him, 6th round maybe? 5th or 6th round. Now, I'm not saying he's going to come out and have a 2023 performance. Okay, last year was a stinker. He was not good for a various amount of reasons. But this year, I am quite high on Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, it makes sense. That Miami offense is pretty, built around, quick pass, RPO, fits Tua, fits Tyreek Hill's game. I don't see why he shouldn't be, a top 15 receiver for fantasy this year. I think there's just a lot of other guys in better situations that people see and value, and I think that's probably just how he dropped. And I don't think, his teammate Jalen Waddle is going to be. I don't think that 1-2 punch is going to be as good as it has been the last year and a half, 2022, 2023. I know last year that was just poor season for Miami. But
so many injuries.
Yeah,
we're questioning Tua even suiting up.
And that's just how some things just unfold for fantasy. You get a guy injured, you're like, oh, okay, and then his teammate goes down, and then you're out of luck.
Yeah, I think last year, especially with the injuries to Tyreek Hill, you were kind of thinking, will Waddle, finally take that step as well, and he had some injury concerns. I think Miami, a fully healthy Miami for fantasy purposes, can definitely help you. And I bought quite a few stock in Tyreek Hill, and then of course you have Devon A-Chain. If he's fully healthy, those managers cannot wait for what he can do.
Yeah, I honestly think one of the winners from an A-Chain injury would be Ollie Gordon. He had a bad senior year at Oklahoma State last year, but from what I've seen in the preseason camp rumors, I know camp rumors as a Raider fan, I fall victim to them every single year.
Yeah.
But it's just, what else do you have to go off of? So, from what I've seen, he's he looks poised. And I mean, if A-Chain's not ready to go week 1, I think that's a guy you look at on the waiver wire.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of camp rumors, there's a guy over in Washington that everyone started talking about like 3 weeks ago. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt? I didn't. It just popped up on my feed one day, like, okay, this guy had a good camp. And then Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt is going to be the sleeper of the year. He's going to be, the next, like Nico Collins. He's going to be on the waiver wire. You're going to pick him up. He's going to be a league winner. He's the next Devon A-Chain. The roster, the depth chart came out.
Yeah.
And he was not the RB1. That's Austin Eckler.
Not 2.
Not the RB2.
Not 3.
Not 3. 4. Now, no games have been played. But RB4.
I feel like LeBron in Miami. Not 1. Not 2. Not 3. I mean, that's just.
I didn't understand the hype. Now, I'm not a huge hype guy when it comes to preseason because there's just so many. This isn't a real game for all intents and purposes. But this guy just came out of nowhere. So you can prove me wrong, that's fine, whatever. But a lot of people bought stock in Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt.
Yeah, it's the same thing. If you watch the Raiders' first preseason game, their third-string quarterback out of North Dakota State, I can't even remember his name, he got cut. And everyone would say, oh, this guy should be the backup. Mm-hmm. Oh, cut Aiden O'Connell. Like, all right, now he's cut. Like, you can't take value in a single preseason game, especially late in the first preseason game. There's tons of backups. There's tons of guys that are just fighting for, not even rosters, for practice squad spots. Mm-hmm. And, it's not a true test of someone's value. And, not to, rain on this guy's parade, but, I have no idea who you're talking about. And that may be the soundbite of the century when he rushes for 3,000 yards this season, mm-hmm. But honestly, I have no idea who you're talking about.
Yeah, when you think of Washington, you think of course, Jaden Daniels, you think of Terry McLaurin. Last year, Austin Eckler was serviceable behind Brian Robinson. So, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I just remember he had 3 names. We'll wait and see.
I guess.
We'll eat our words, but we'll see.
Brian
Robinson's
not even in Washington anymore.
Exactly. That, I think, was the biggest reason that people were all in on him, too.
Yeah. Maybe.
We'll see. We'll have to put up everyone's team there and see what you guys think. I'll just throw a couple names out. Jaden Daniels, Nico Collins, Puka, Josh Jacobs, Breece Hall, Tyreek Hill. That sounds like a pretty good squad to me. I don't know. That guy might win the league or something. But
this guy's so biased. Oh my
I don't know. I'm just like.
I'm looking at this just completely random team. He's got the QB1 and Josh Allen on his team. And then
Central
Jamar
Valley.
Chase. So he obviously had the first overall pick because he took Jamar Chase.
All right.
Marvin Harrison Jr., I think he's going to have
Maserati Marv. Okay.
Sophomore season. Kyron Williams. In that Rams offense,
Solid.
Never count out Sean McVay. He's going to get the ball a lot. Chuba Hubbard, you know what?
Okay, he got paid. What? Let's see his
Mark
attitude
Andrews,
after this.
Just make sure he's not playing in a playoff game in Buffalo.
Ooh, Mark Andrews.
Zay Flowers.
Isaiah Likely would like to have a word. Okay.
Zay Flowers. Let's make sure he's not playing a playoff game against the Chiefs.
Lamar doesn't throw him the ball. As a former Zay Flowers owner myself, I ran into that problem last year, but
Well, I think this year's going to be a lot different for Lamar. I think he's getting up. I think it's year 8 for him.
Okay,
but
no. He's not even close to 30 yet. I understand it's year 8, whatever it is. But there are
he's going to have to slow down eventually and throw the ball, and I think this is going to be the year.
We have like 7-8 year players in college football that are the same age as Lamar Jackson. He's going into year 8. He's still got it. let's calm down with those conversations. We're not having that
think,
conversation.
buddy.
We are not having that conversation right now. So we'll show off our teams, and you'll see, drop down your sleeper or your bust picks of the year, and also let us know whose team is a contender and who is just having fun.
Yeah.
Participating, things like that. Moving on from football, we have other sports here at Fresno State. We have volleyball, who's on quite the road trip. We got 2 tournaments. How is the road trip going so far?
So they finished up their first tournament at Tucson in the Wildcat Classic, I think is what it was called. They went 2-1. They lost to the host, Arizona, which, they're a good volleyball program. It's expected. They got swept 3-0, but I think the Dogs can learn a lot from that. Mm-hmm. Their first 2 games, they reverse swept Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Addison Paluska, 22 kills in 5 matches. I mean, she basically won a match by herself. That's just insane. A beast. You said it last podcast. She's a beast.
We say it every week. Beast. Yeah.
Dare I say, just beast athlete of Fresno State? Beast of the week?
I think, we're to that point. They still have another road tournament coming up. Interested to see their first game here at the Save Mart Center.
September 12th against Santa Clara.
There we go.
Friday night.
A
little pregame for the next home game. Go watch the volleyball at the Save Mart Center.
Mm-hmm. From the court to the field, why not go into the Save Mart Center? And then we have soccer picking up their first win of the year.
Yeah, after a honestly pretty disappointing loss to UC Santa Barbara on last Thursday. I mean, just could not shoot the ball at all. I mean, they had very little chances. Just Santa Barbara was very tight defensively. Mm-hmm. And, one of the things that the Dogs were, prideful on in the first 2 games of the season against Cal Poly and who else did they play? UC Davis, maybe? I think so. Was that they were strong defensively. And, Santa Barbara took 2 early goals in the first half and never really looked back. Mm-hmm. But they bounced back in fashion against Sac State on Sunday. 6-0. I mean.
Yeah. Going into that game, they had not scored a goal yet. And instead of just, like we said, not 1,
not 2,
not 2,
not 3,
not 3, not 4, not 5, 6 goals, they broke the seal and got the ball into the old onion bag.
The old onion bag.
6 times.
I mean, it's impressive to get, 2, 3 goals. You get double that, triple that. You can't beat that from an offensive perspective. And it was only 2-0 at halftime. So those last 45 minutes, they really just poured it on Sac State.
6 goals while also pitching a shutout. That's got to do something for the confidence moving forward. They do have 2 road games coming up. Then they're finally at home. Interesting to see. I mean, 6 goals and a shutout.
Keep the train rolling.
We'll see. And before we wrap up, we have to give a shout out to a former Bulldog in the NFL, Deron Bland.
Ooh.
Yes, sir. Josiah, the Cowboys fan over there, signed an extension with the Dallas Cowboys.
But they couldn't pay Micah.
No, they did not. I'm a Packers fan. I will, with Josiah in here, I will keep it quiet and keep it respectful over here. But Deron Bland signed an extension with Dallas. The pick 6 leader gets an extension. Last year battled some injuries. Still sort of battling some
Definitely
from preseason. But yeah, it's cool to see a former Bulldog living it up and getting another extension with the team that drafted him.
Generational wealth. I mean, it's easy to say that interceptions are a stat that it's easy to cherry pick and be like, he's good because he picks the ball off. But Deron Bland, just that's easy. it's one thing to get an interception, but it's another thing to return them for a touchdown. You're anticipating routes. You're probably on an island a lot, and they kept throwing it to him. So, I mean, that's just super impressive and just well-deserved from a former Bulldog.
We'll see. Hopefully he can remain healthy this year and be a leader in that Cowboys secondary and just in defense in general, because obviously with the loss of Micah Parsons, we'll leave it at that. Some shaking heads in the room. We will leave it at that. Fresno State will take on the Beavers in Corvallis on Saturday. We will bring you coverage from that. And, of course, any other news from that. Also, a shout-out with the MLB playoffs starting here soon. Of course, Aaron Judge. And Taylor Ward is fine. He's doing okay after the wall incident. He's all good.
Man.
He's safe.
Wall 1, Taylor Ward 0.
Yeah, that was scary. I mean, instantly, bam, and then, that was a scary sight.
I mean, luckily that bullpen's right there. Otherwise, he is out there.
Mm-hmm.
On
an island by himself, but
nothing.
he's all good.
Can you imagine if, Drew Gilbert ran into the bricks at Oracle?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man, that would hurt.
I mean, yeah, you got Oracle, you got anything at Wrigley. Contact sport. Baseball. Contact sport.
I guess. Spatial awareness, guys. Come on. We can do better than that.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that will conclude episode 2 here of the Collegian Cooldown. Thank you very much for tuning in. That is all. Signing off.